When I look back at my life, I remember snapshots of highly important memories that contribute toward the making of who I am. I use my autobiographical memory to remember what exactly has happened throughout my life up until this point to make me who I am today. Autobiographical memory is the memory that each of us has for the episodes and events of our lives. Today, I will be taking you through some of my own defining memories and how I believe they have shaped the way I am today. If I were to replay every moment in my life, I would remember through a series of snapshots or flashes, also known as my flashbulb memories. Flashbulb memories can be defined as memories of extraordinary clarity, typically highly emotional, retained despite the passage of many years. It also so happens that memories I happen to retain from my childhood and past have contributed to the shaping of who I am, who I was, and who I've become. These flashbulb memories I recall in my mind contain self-relevant information in some way or another. Usually, this self-relevant information is emotional, which increases and supports memory consolidation, which is the process through which memories are biologically cemented in place. Anyway, back to flashbulb memories. When an event, whether personal or historical, is highly emotional, people tend to remember that day as though it were yesterday. For example, many people vividly remember where they were when terrorists attacked the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. My parents, who both were living in New York City at the time, each have their own memories of the event, which I have heard countless times. When you have a flashbulb memory, you can probably recall the memory in extreme detail. What you might have smelled, heard, seen, or touched that specific day. So, now that I've explained to you what flashbulb memories are, I will take you through some of my most emotionally arousing memories throughout my childhood. My first memory ever is more simple and much less eventful than others I might recall. So, this is me as a toddler. I remember living in Connecticut, where I was born, walking down my driveway with my sister, my grandmother, and my grandmother's dog, and seeing a caterpillar for the first time on a leaf right outside my house. This memory may not seem highly emotional, so why do I remember it so vividly? Well, looking back, I think it was the first time I realized as a little tot the beauty of the world around me and just how huge the world actually is. I remember the moment as highly overwhelming, the first time I used any critical thought. My next notable flashbulb memory is a memory of extreme embarrassment in second grade. This is me as a little 7-year-old. My 20-person class was doing a spelling bee. I was one of the 3 last contestants and I was bound to win. However, I severely needed to pee. I think you can see where this story is going. I begged my teacher, Miss Garcia, to go to the bathroom multiple times. And each time, she said no, just finish the spelling bee. Long story short, I did not finish the spelling bee. I wet myself in front of my whole class. This was a moment of extreme embarrassment, and I will vividly remember this day for the rest of my life. I remember I was wearing a teal polo shirt and a khaki school uniform, and I remember my 2 other contestants, Lucas Burnett and Skylar Zur. I believe this honestly began my insecurity and my tendency to be self-conscious throughout the rest of my childhood and puberty. My next memory worth noting was my first period. I was in 6th grade, it was September 15th, and I was leaving history class for the bathroom when I realized something new was going on. I had no idea what was going on for some reason. I couldn't quite piece it together, but I remember feeling immense shame and like I had to hide it from my parents. For a couple days, I kept it a secret from my family and pretended nothing had happened, nothing had changed, but I couldn't hide it anymore and I had to tell my mother. She brought me to get chocolate and comforted me all day by watching movies with me on our couch. However, Interestingly enough, my parents actually remember this day much different. They remember me coming home from school crying on the first day of my period, exclaiming that I had no idea what to do. Why do I remember things so differently? Well, memories are often flawed for multiple different reasons. It could have to do with the discussing of the flashbulb event. This discussion may encourage me or my parents to polish the report of this event to offer a more interesting narrative. Or maybe my parents or I are mixing up two different memories. Moral of the story: flashbulb memories, like all memory, can contain substantial errors and are not always completely accurate, no matter how vividly you may remember things. Finally, another important flashbulb memory of mine is the day my dad told me that we would be entering quarantine until further notice due to the coronavirus. I remember sitting in my room with my sister, playing Fortnite on our phones, expecting to go to our friend Nick's house later that day, when my dad came into my room, informed me about this potentially deadly virus, and told us we were to not leave our house again. I didn't understand the severity of the situation, and I fought my dad on it. I told him that my other friends weren't quarantining right now, so why should I? I cried and begged him to please let me go see my friends. Less than a week later, the rest of my friends were in quarantine as well. I believe that this shaped me into understanding that maybe my dad does know best and we should listen to him. Overall, my flashbulb memories of complex events shape who I am today. These highly emotional memories are vivid for a reason. Thank you for exploring some of my own memories today, and I hope you learned a lot about autobiographical memory, memory consolidation, and most importantly, flashbulb memories. Thank you.